This episode of Tom's Top 5 is brought to you by Gazelle, the fastest and easiest way to sell and recycle your gadgets. Welcome to Tom's Top 5, where I fully expect to get in trouble for this one. I'm Tom Merritt. Tech journalists. There are stars, and there are unknown reliables. In doing my other show, Tech News Today, I've come to know a few bylines quite well and learned to pay a little more attention to the work of a few. You won't see any Walt Mossbergs, Nilay Patels, or Molly Woods on today's list, not because they aren't among the best, of course they are. This list is different. These are 5 journalists who I believe deserve recognition for their valuable contributions to the understanding of the tech world, and maybe they don't get the spotlight as often. Let's count them down. At number 5, Eleanor Mills. There are a lot of great sources for security news on the web, but if you want to know you've got a comprehensive and comprehensible take on a security story, read Eleanor. No FUD, just facts. Coming in at number 4, Ina Fried. Ina used to cover Microsoft, but in a world of Mary Jo Foley and Paul Thurrott, I'm kind of glad she switched to mobile. Ina always seems to have a little inside knowledge and perspective that makes her stories just a bit more valuable than the average. Up to number 3, Stephen Shankland. Shank may dress like a lumberjack, but his depth of knowledge and passion for the geekiest of tech oozes out of every word he writes. I always feel satisfied I got all the points when I read Steve. Sliding in at number 2, Jackie Chang. Jackie is listed as the senior Apple editor at Ars Technica and kicks ass at covering them, but thankfully her beats branch out beyond one infinite loop. Somehow she always seems to have the definitive version of any story she covers. Before we get to number 1, time for a stupid question. Just a few weeks ago, we lost a giant in tech journalism, the UK's Guy Cuny. He started covering tech for a magazine in 1978 when people like Steve Jobs and Bill Gates were hungry to talk to journalists. What UK magazine was it? Answer the question in the comments on the page for this episode at revision3.com/TomsTop5, and you could win this pack of swag stickers, the likes of which litter the houses of every self-respecting tech journalist. We'll be back with number 1 after we thank our sponsor, Gazelle. They accept more than 300,000 products from over 20 different electronic categories, and shipping's free on all items of value. And in most cases, they'll even send you a box to ship with. Also, for you green folks out there, Gazelle makes all their recycling partners adhere to some strict policies. No exports, no landfill policies, and a ton of data security standards. So if they can't sell it, they'll recycle it for you safely. Gazelle's a great way to get cash to upgrade to the latest gadget like your iPhone or your Android phone. Go to gazelle.com to learn more. All right, let's get to our number 1. I'm not calling this person the best tech journalist, but he tops my list because I've relied on him to understand complex issues again and again. At number 1, Nate Anderson. From net neutrality to copyright law to the all-important fight to get Craigslist to prevent bestiality, Mr. Anderson's extensive research and uncanny insights make him a must-read for anyone really wishing to get a full understanding of complex issues in tech news that affect our daily lives. Well, that's it for this edition of Top 5. You must disagree with me on some of these, I'm sure, so be sure to discuss your favorites in the comments at revision3.com/TomsTop5. Now, there are way more than 5 folks deserving of being on this list. These are just a slice, so we'll finish with a scroll of all the tech journalists mentioned when I ask for suggestions for this list on Twitter and Facebook. I'm Tom Merritt. See you next time.